Set to record, and we are recording. What's happening, man? Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it a lot.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this is the first ever Blah Blah Studio Zoom series, so yeah, adapting to the times. Fuck, my mic is very loud. Yeah, adapting to the times ahead, so doing everything remotely as best we can and staying safe and washing our hands. So yeah, just have a general chit chat of the origins of Future West and where everything began. That's okay with you, brother?
I hate that question.
So we'll go right back to the beginning since you hate it.
That one. No, I'm only I always forget the year when it started. I think because I started writing for it before it was a thing. So it's like I was writing these tunes for it. I didn't actually know what the songs were gonna be for. They were just these songs that, you know. And then I started recording them, but was like, I don't want to use the word experimenting because it's such a losery word to use when like but basically I was out of my comfort zone, like in terms of what I was doing, but like I definitely wouldn't call it experimenting as such, like, you know. But yeah, I started recording them with like there was like, you know, like a full band thing. There was like drums, keyboards, like basically a full band setup on it. And then I was doing like live gigs of the songs, just acoustic. And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, this is kind of boring. Like it was kind of annoying because like you were playing these songs, you put loads of effort into them, you couldn't play them live, like the way that you actually want people to hear them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna need a band for this. And I think so. Initially, it was like 6-piece band. It was there was a load of us. There was a gang of us. We were frightening. We were frightening looking, and we were frighteningly loud. I remember we done like one gig in the Spirit Store where like I think my brother was saying that like he thought his pint was like vibrating along the table. So you'd have Joey Edwards of Larry to thank for that one. She was on the desk that night. But no, that was classic. Like they were deadly gigs. Like when it was like big, massive, like full piece thing, and then like over time it just kind of started getting smaller. Like originally I was only singing, and then it became 5 of us, and I was singing and playing guitar, and then the keyboard player Sean, who was Sean Conway, he like moved halfway down to the country, so then that was it, down to 4 of us. And then Sean Bradley, who was a guitar player, moved to Newfoundland. He moved to Newfoundland, so that made it only 3 of us. And then the next thing, I was away off in London, so that made it a one piece. So it was like just over time, it just kind of dwindled away. And obviously, like since moving back, like John obviously got back on board, who plays bass, and then yeah, I remember asking Dean, the drummer, to come back. He was living in Dublin, so he was a bit busy. But yeah, obviously the last time we played, the last people have seen us, it has been a 2-piece. But we are currently, well, before we all got put on lockdown, we were in talks with someone who was well up for playing drums with us and making it more of a band thing again. So.
Brilliant. And is that we'll not name names just in case, but I know who it is. But are they still on track to become the newest member?
Well, the last I spoke to them, yeah, they were well up for it. But I think that was the thing, is in that we were speaking, and it was like, "Yo, do you want to play drums?" And they were like, "Yeah, that'd be class." Like, sorry, I'm trying my best not to curse here. I've been awful.
No, of course, if you want.
When I'm not on.
No, absolutely, curse.
I know I don't want to be sitting there going, "Oh, it's fucking class," every 2 seconds. Yeah, so the last I was talking to them, they were well up for playing it. I'd sent them, because you have seen us live recently, I sent them the live set with all the backing tracks and electronic-y parts on it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to keep a fair chunk of the electronic elements in it, and we're going to have the drummer onto like on a click track. And so like there'll still be loads of stuff on a track in terms of like keyboards and pads and vocals and stuff, but all the live drums will be kept in time. But we want to keep it like a blend between the both, because we have a heap of songs that we can't actually do live without a drummer. But we could do them, but they're just not very good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe explain that before, and I couldn't wrap my head around that. So my favorite song is The Last Known Soldier, and you're like, we can't play it live, and I just couldn't. I just thought you were winding me up because you didn't want to play it. But yeah, but it makes sense now when you explain it.
genuinely we can't play that song live because it's just because of the big drums that are in it. I mean, you
Yeah,
could probably do some sort of weird electronic ambient version, but like that's like it's cool doing different versions of songs. I mean, I do it all the time, but like that one I think is just so much of a stretch away that it would just be a different piece of music then. So but
yeah,
I would love to play that song again if we had the means to do it. Like,
yeah. Because I know Niall Clark loves it as well, so
oh, really?
he'll be. I think he does. Anyways, I think he told me that he loves that tune as well. It was a Night in the Spirit. The last time we were in the Spirit, so anyway, I think he was saying that because I was like, "Go on, play it."
Yeah.
But
Just
sure,
do like acoustic versions of it or something. I don't know.
I take an acoustic version of it, no sweat. But yeah, that's actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Like how, like, because like, your live sets are completely different to anyone's that I've ever seen before. Like, it's more of like it's just like a 40-minute stream of tracks.
Yeah.
So like, was that a conscious effort to be able to do that, or was that just something that kind of came with like time?
No, I think I remember it coming around because like I used to be like into DJing years ago. Now I'm not like I was never a superstar DJ or anything like that. Like it was vinyl DJ and there was no real like over the top mixing going on. But I always loved like when I was playing a record that I would almost have to think the way I would think of the next song. I would try and think of a song that kind of has the same rhythm or is in the same key or something. So then they would like constantly flow in a cool way when we were doing it live. And then when we started doing the whole stuff with the laptop, it wasn't always a constant stream. But I hated the fact that I was running back and forward to the laptop, stopping it and pressing play on it. And it almost felt like the show was being interrupted after every song. Do you know what I mean? It was really weird. So then, yeah, I just had the idea one day to just start blending them all in. And what I would do is I would open up like the project file of the whatever song was playing, and I would just take the stem of like a guitar, and then I would morph that sound. I'd start reversing it and like changing the pitch of it, and I would use that as my little bit of segue into the next track.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's loads of fun doing that, and I think it'd be cool. That's why we want to put the drummer onto a click track as well, because we still want to do that like constant, 40 minutes of just non-stop. It's good that way, and it's like kind of sometimes it's a bit nerve-wracking as well, because if something goes wrong, then you're kind of like you really are in the deep end. I mean, once you press play, there's no stopping. So like, say like if, for example, one of my guitar pedals like decides to kick the bucket like in the middle of a tune,
yeah,
you're kind of put under a lot of pressure. I kind of like that. I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's brilliant because I remember you explaining the set to me, and the way you're saying it, that you don't really talk or engage with the audience during it, and I was like, it sounded like normal enough to me when you explained it, and then when I seen it, I was like, that's brilliant, because it was just like 140-minute song, and it just blended lovely. Yeah. Even though you did like that night, you did take breaks and pauses in between certain parts to kind of say stuff to the audience, but it was still going.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
That was like a get out of jail free night that night. And I kind of couldn't have done that set without pausing it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's cool because then it's like say if I started talking in between songs, there's every chance that like I could just start rambling on about things that only I know something about, and I'll start making all these jokes that no one finds funny except myself. So it's also beneficial in that way, because the music starts playing, then I kind of have to shut up and just get on with it, like,
Yeah.
But I think the main thing with it is like it is more of a discomfort thing where I'm just like, like, what do you say as an unsigned band in between all your tunes? Hey, check out Spotify. Like, what I mean? say it once. Like, people aren't stupid. They've heard you say it once.
Yeah.
You only have to say it once.
Yeah, I never consider that. Like, what do you actually say to an audience? Because there have been places where like there's been people like just like rambling on like about nonsense and dedicating like random songs to random people that aren't even there.
Yeah.
And you're just like just get on with it. Like.
Yeah, I'm just never. I don't know. I'm just not arsed with that whole "is everybody having a good time" thing. I don't.
Yeah. Because you can obviously see like they are having a good time. Like, it's just yeah. But I like it. It's so interesting, and it's like it's so different as well, because especially on that night, there was 3 bands playing, and it was something different every time. And
yeah, every band was completely different, weren't they? It was pretty mad.
Yeah, it was class. It was a bizarre night. It was a great night. But yeah, no, emotional night, but
Yeah.
it was class. It was probably the best night ever. And but that leads me on to like, so like you have such a unique style compared to like most other music that I would listen to, and I'd love to know like who were your influences, and has there anyone that has been like a key figure in helping like shaping your style of music or your taste in music, or is there like a past genre that you lean on to kind of remorph and reshape into your style?
um, I'm not sure. I don't like I'm not. I don't like that whole like talking about your influences kind of thing, which I know like you didn't really ask that, but like
Yeah,
um yeah, I don't know. I always find myself like very motivated when like my favorite bands are putting out new stuff, because then you get to hear like a new side of them as well. Um,
yeah.
like even a band that I'm really fond of is a band called Car Seat Headrest. They put out an album last Friday. It's the most ridiculous
Mm.
band name ever. But yeah, they put out an album last Friday, and like it's completely different to anything that he's ever done. I think it's like his 13th album. Like, and he's only
Jesus,
26. Yeah,
that's
he's
some
actually he's younger than me, and he's done 13 albums. But like
that's some
the
library
first,
music to have.
well, the first 10 of them were just like home recorded, like Bandcamp releases that he recorded in his college dorm. And then this record label was like, "Oh, this fella's actually dead, and let's just sign him." And they actually let him re-record like one of the albums, which is like unheard of.
Jeez,
But like, I mean, I get, yeah, like there's like a four-piece kind of indie rock band, I guess. But then the last album that they're after putting out is like dead electronic, and there's loads of cool drum machines and that kind of stuff on it, and all these cool like vocal effects. I was listening to it and I was just like, that just doesn't even sound like the same band. Parts of it even started sounding like Daft Punk. I was like,
like
oh, this is class. And I think that's like when bands do that, that's when I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start getting my ass into gear again. I think the best example is actually probably the Arctic Monkeys. That would be the best known example, because every record they put out is just 100 miles away from the last one, you know.
yeah.
And
So like
I love when bands do that. And it's like I don't like when people are like, oh, just make it sound like the first record again. It's just like, no, you have the first record.
yeah.
Do it again. It's just going to be a shit version of that one. So let them do
So
something
it's more
new.
of like the reimagination of the sound that kind of influence you rather than like the reproduction of an album.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I think I kind of said that arseways, but you get what I'm saying. But
I think I answered your arseways in
yeah.
fairness.
But and is there like it's like I've seen you play behind closed doors loads of times now at this stage, and it's been different every time. And is there like I've never seen a process like yours before. Like you blend so many different sounds and you distort sounds, and the feedback, like you use like feedback and stuff as part of your tracks. Like
Oh yeah.
I remember you doing that, and I was like, that was like to me that was like I've always been taught like that's been like broken audio, and you never
Yeah.
use it. I like what's the story behind that? Like that's it's a bit mad.
I think well, the story with the distorted vocals, which yeah, not everyone loves the distorted vocals. I remember when we put out the first album, the first guy that reviewed it just took a big steamy shite all over. He just did not he did not like that record, and one of his main problems with it was the vocals on it. And he was just kind of, you know, he was saying that the vocals were recorded in a way that were bordering on being like inaudible, which now in fairness he's not wrong.
Yeah, but
So sometimes like I think there was even a while ago like I was listening to one of the tracks and I was like, what are those lines again, you know? But like I definitely think, you know, you can hear what I'm saying. A few people have said it to me before. It's just like, it's good, but I can't hear what you're saying. And I don't know, I just think that the distorted vocals thing was really cool, especially on a track like The Last Known Soldier, where it's like big massive compressed drums and like fuzzy guitars, and like I think what I was trying to do was use the vocal more like an instrument than a vocal.
yeah,
Um,
that's
you
very
know, as in
interesting.
like I don't think a clean upfront like poppy vocal would have suited that kind of music. I think that's why I just plugged it into like, I think I just had it plugged into like a guitar pedal board. I just had all the pedals turned on. It was just like, I was like, that sounds class. Let's just do that.
Yeah,
But with the feet,
it's something I've never heard before, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
And like a lot of people do use it, and again, even back to the Arctic Monkeys, like they use a lot of distortion on their vocals, but it's just more subtly done to give it a bit more character and texture more than anything. Whereas I just went a little bit silly on it and had everything turned up to 11. But in terms of like the feedback and stuff, though, there's a band that I love called the Cribs. They're just a 3-piece like fucking guitar band. You'd actually know their song. It's called Men's Needs. It was in the In-Betweeners, like loads. You definitely know it if you heard it. But they use like loads of feedback and stuff on their albums, and I always thought it gave music this really, obviously dependent on the song. I mean, sometimes it could like turn songs being like really sinister sounding or something. I just always thought it was really cool, just doing like 3 or 4 different tracks of feedback and then like aligning them up all differently in the project.
Yeah.
And then they all start wavering like in and out of time. And but yeah, I always, like, if I'm doing feedback and stuff, I always do try and keep it in the key of the song though. So again, it almost sounds like an added instrument as opposed to like someone who just dropped their guitar and forgot to pick it up.
Yeah, because when I was there when you were recording the guitars for Emergency, you were doing a bit of you're doing a bit of feedback, and I was like, not startled, but I was like, what's going on here? Because
I was in this room as well.
Yeah, you're just giving it loads into an eyes, like, and then you explained it afterwards, and I was like, that is brilliant. And is that like,
it's just I think a cool thing with feedback for me as well is I always find it's really nice for like transition in songs. I think the best example I can think of is It Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah,
of course, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Yeah. So like when the solo in that song finishes, Kurt Cobain has just obviously let the guitar like ring out, and the feedback, the way that like segues into the third verse, it just makes it flow in like real smoothly and real nice. So I kind of like to use feedback like that when you let it ring into the next part of the song. And it almost just makes the song kind of flow a lot better.
Yeah. So it's almost like you're using it as a bit of like a bridge, almost to kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. To get between pieces and tracks. I haven't got a clue about music really, so I'm just throwing out words here. But would that be seen as like
lazy?
Would that be seen as like, that was the kind of lead to the next question? Would that be something that like it wouldn't be considered like standard practice like in music? Because I know like a bit different, but like in photography terms, like people don't like grain like in noise and a lot of their images, whereas I use it in a lot of my images because I think it adds like a lot of texture and substance to the images.
Yeah. I think kind of like that photography thing, a lot of it is kind of personal preference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I think like when it comes to music, I always find myself like, I almost said I hate myself doing it. That's a very strong thing to say. I hate when I do it, and it's like sometimes I go to record something and it's like I try and do it like too properly or something. It's like I'm trying to think of how to word it. I think I've had this conversation before. I'm really bad at explaining stuff, but yeah. So like even just the way I'm setting up like mics and stuff, like like sometimes I'll put a microphone somewhere and I'll go, oh no, that's not a rule of thumb that goes there. Like that like, the rule book says it should be here,
Yeah.
And then I'm like, for sure, it doesn't matter where it is. Once it sounds good, it sounds good.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
mean?
Yeah. And that's kind of like what I've been trying. That's what I've been like trying to let myself not do the last few weeks when I've been out here recording. Is just like let's say for talks like when you were out here and we were doing Emergency, like that little practice amp that I was playing through, like a lot of people would just not record through it because it's such a small little practice amp, because it's not like a big tube amp or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas, plug the guitar in, and if the sound suits the song, it suits the song.
Yeah.
If the graininess suits the image, then it's not wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly as I like.
It's definitely more of an opinion thing. Like, and I'm trying to teach myself like to not be in that mindset of like just because it's like generally thought of to be wrong, then like you shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
Like
That's
even on some of the new tracks, like recording, trying to like do this thing on a new track with like a 3-4 way vocal, like weaving in and out of itself. And then the other day, some of the words didn't quite match up in time with the other ones, and I was like, oh, but it still sounds good. And I had to like click my fingers, go, yes, it sounds good. So just leave it, don't change it, because
yeah. I'm quite like that with photography as well. If it looks good and I'm happy with it, like I'm I'm just going to go with it because I have like I don't know how you feel about the music industry, but I have a big gripe with the photography industry because there's like so many cliques and circles and
yeah,
like gangs and stuff, and that they're all like photography like purists and like no, you have to abide by the rules and you have to do this and these colors don't match and stuff like that. And where I'm like forget that, like do it for yourself, don't do it for anyone else, and
yeah.
make the
It's
images
funny
that you want to make. Like I couldn't give like a fuck what anyone else thinks about me images. I do it for myself. Like, and if you don't like it, you don't like it.
yeah.
That's
No, it's funny you say about the photography industry though. I was having a chat with someone last week, and this sentence has been floating around in my head for a while, that I think the two worst words that have been put beside each other in the English language is music industry. Whenever I hear those two words, I'm just like, oh, it just like grinds my gears, you know.
yeah. I think like when I hear music industry, I think it suits. Like
Yeah, that's what it makes it sound like. And even just the words, they just make it sound clicky, and it's just like, oh, you know, like I don't know, you talk to like lads that are going to play gigs, and, oh, you're looking forward to gigs? Like, yeah, it's going to be like loads of industry heads there and stuff. And you're like, well, yeah, fuck off.
what does that even mean? There's going to be a load of industry heads there. Like,
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm going to invite a load of industry heads down. It's just like, well, you fuck, get a grip of yourself. Just write tunes for the love of writing tunes. And
yeah,
you know, if people hear them, then that's class. That's another thing I had to like kind of come to grips with, like, you know, the last few years of like putting stuff out. Just like, you know, there was one or two songs that we'll not get into, but I wrote because I thought it would be what people would like, and I thought it would get more people on side. And then I just kind of like, why did you do that? You know, like, why did you waste 2 months writing and recording that song for somebody else?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, no, I've been guilty of that myself. Like,
yeah,
especially when I started out photography, I was like, I need to shoot what people love and what people like and what are the trends at the minute. And then eventually and thankfully, I grew out of it very fast.
yeah. That's the same with myself as well, and that's why all these distorted vocals are coming back in. You know, it's
Love it.
I think I tried to clean it up because of the kind of, don't want to use the word backlash. I say it like loads of people shat on it, but they really didn't. Just a few people did say to me before, so I can't really hear what you're saying. And then because of that, that made me think, oh, well, more people are like us if they can hear what I'm saying. But I kind of forgot that I really liked our album.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, well, so yeah, I had to like kind of teach myself that, like, fucking,
Yeah, do it for yourself. Don't do it.
Don't do anything for anyone else, you know?
Yeah, and if you enjoy it, and then if someone else enjoys it, that's just a bonus. Like, but as long as you're happy with the final product.
Yeah.
And I know you sent the emergency way to be mastered by someone else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about doing that? Is that like something that, like, I think I'd have a hard problem, like, if I sent like a video way to be mastered, or like someone that just put the final touches on a photo.
No, it's not that. It's like because we have that song "See What I See," and that was done by that was mixed by Peter McCoy and Porrick McCrum. And when I was doing emergency, like after "See What I See," I was kind of like, oh, me and John can just record and mix the next few things ourselves and see what happens. And then I was trying to mix emergency, and I think I had it close enough. It wasn't a million miles away from what I wanted, but it just wasn't. So like what I was doing was here, and what I wanted was like just here. So
Yeah.
it was like, you know, it was just missing the mark. And I was listening to all these records, and I was like, yeah, I want that kind of vocal sound or that guitar sound, but I just couldn't achieve it. And I knew fine rightly that Peter and Porrick could. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll send them how far I've gotten and just say, I want it along the lines of this, but can you do this? And I'm nearly sure they only sent me back one mix. Yeah, I think the first mix they sent back, I was like, that's unbelievable. We don't have to do anything with that. The two boys are absolutely deadly. Like, I mean, even earlier on today, I was having a bit of trouble with my laptop, and I texted two of them like in our group chat, and I was like, "Here, lads, there's a problem here with the laptop." straight away, like Peter was messaging me for an hour and a half with like solutions to try and fix it, and it turns out it was a really silly problem. We'll not get into it, but I
Yeah,
just think the two lads are absolutely deadly. Like when it comes to like, you know, taking on what you want, but also giving out like really good like criticisms and advice as well. Like, you know,
yeah,
even when they done See What I See, like Peter done like a couple of little edits to like my version. And even when he sent it back, I was just like, they're actually deadly edits. And it wasn't a thing where I don't think he'd done the edits just for the sake of doing it because he was mixing it. He done them because he thought that it would actually make the song better. Like, you know, I think they kind of do it in that way where like I'll send them a demo and they might give me some criticism on it, but it'll only be to make it better. It won't be it won't be just because I asked.
yeah,
You know, I could send them something and they could go, loving that, sounds great. Wouldn't change it. You know, so
yeah. They're there.
it's
Yeah,
cool.
they're there. The better.
It's cool working with people like that. Like,
You need people like that, though. You need people around you that aren't afraid to give you constructive criticism, because I think if you're surrounded by a load of yes men and people tell you everything's class, like you're never going to grow or achieve the things that you should be doing, or going through the natural learning curves that should occur in your process.
exactly. Yeah.
That'd be my
But no,
biggest nightmare. Just someone telling me yes, everything's great all the time.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely, yeah, that's like why I was very keen to get more people back playing with the band as well.
Yeah,
So it wasn't just me writing and then going, all right, John, here's the song, let's just play the song. You know, like I would definitely be more comfortable with like 2 or 3 extra people. I would love it for there to be 5 people in the band again. If anyone's looking to join a band, we're short of a few members, but no.
I'll stick the email in the link below.
Yeah. We don't pay you because we don't make money, but we'll have fun. We'll have fun. But no, like I was saying, I would like to have like, you know, because I like a lot of the time I would have like just one part as an idea and I'll be sitting there playing it for hours and I won't know where to take it. Whereas if I was in a room with 3 other people, there's 3 more opinions on
Yeah.
where that one piece could go. And I just think it'd be more productive in that kind of way.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because the more heads you can bang ideas off, and more people that can tell you, yeah, this is class, this is great, I changed this. So you can put 2 ideas together. Like it just makes for like a all around better learning experience and better creating experience, really.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's part of like that should be like a good lesson to any young people that may be watching this besides their mothers, that don't be afraid to take on criticism, or don't be afraid to give constructive criticism to your friends. Like it's all done in love and all done with betterment in mind.
Yeah. I know, sure, even when we were doing the first album, the fella that I live with, there was more than once when he told me something was just outright shite. I'm like, here, Joe, come on, listen to this new tune or that. He'd sit there and have a fight, like, yeah, that sucks. Maybe at the time I'd be like, might try and argue my case because it was so fresh for me. I was probably really excited about it. And then you get this one person just going, yeah, man, that sucks. But I think 9 times out of 10, looking back, he was definitely right.
Yeah,
it did suck.
But you need that though, because like I think anything, like any creative person, that anything you make, like you're inherently protective of it straight away, because you have to spend all this time making it. So it's good to have someone there to be like, no, it's gack. And I think I learned that very fast. Like as soon as I got out of college and started like working for people, and you'd be told every day something shit or change this, like you have to go thick skin very fast. I love it though. But I think we're flying there on time. Actually, half hour in. Fuck. There's actually only a couple more questions I have, and like I know you have to be out of here by 6 o'clock. A couple of songs that I would love to know, like the meanings behind, especially one in particular, because you told me a little bit about the Pilot's Nightmare, and you gave me a little snippet of it before, and then I was like, all right, I need to know the full story. So could we get the?
As in a snippet of the song or a snippet of?
You told me, you gave me a snippet of like the story behind it about being in the airport.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say it was funny. It actually wasn't funny. It was when my girlfriend was living over in London 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, and I'd gone over to visit, and what was annoying was we were sitting there, and I was due to go like that evening, and I was like, oh, sure, the flights tomorrow are dead cheap. Well, I just go tomorrow. And then we were like, oh yeah, sure, I'll go tomorrow. And then I ended up not going the next day. I stuck to my original flight and went to the airport. And then I got to the airport, and like my flight just wasn't on the screen. I was like, where's my flight? It's like, maybe I'm not going. I was like, what's going on? And then then the flight did come up. So I think the flight was due to leave at, I don't know, let's say 6 for talk's sake. But on the screen, it was saying the gate wasn't open until midnight. And I was like, what is happening? It was just really weird. So there was like no announcements. There was no text update. There was no email update. And I just so happened to go up to like a security guard or whatever, walking around, who just happened to be explaining to a group of people that flight is just not going. It was like, oh yeah, that plane is just not going. And we were like, why? And I don't even think he gave us an actual explanation. It was just like, yeah, your plane is not going. Suck it up and deal with it. I was like, here. So obviously the first thought is to get to a Ryanair desk and just be like, here, man, can you stick me on the next flight? Like, but before I went down, there was this girl, and she managed to like latch on to me. Like, she was one of those, like, she was one of those, this is an outrage. I'm going to do these over this, and we're going to kick up a ruckus and all this. And I'm just sitting there being like, I just want to get on a plane and leave.
Yeah.
She's like, no, we're going to the desk and we're going to give them hell and all this. And I'm just like, here, because that's just not in me to do that. Like, obviously, I was pissed off the flight was cancelled. But, all you have to do is go to the desk and be nice, and they'll be grand. I got down to the desk, and I think all the passengers that were due on it were like at that desk. And like, they were just giving them absolute hell. I think one of the lads actually started crying. Like, one of the boys that works behind the desk. And I started feeling bad for him, because I was like, well, it's not his fault the flight's cancelled. Do you know what I mean? He didn't ring up the pilot and like, don't fly that plane there, just relax. But yeah, this chick would just like not stop following me and like trying to get me all like riled up to start a riot or something. I was just like, you are melting my brain, as if I'm not like stressed out enough. You're really annoying me. Well, yeah, I don't know, just through niceness, they ended up sticking me on a flight an hour or so later. The one that came in with an empty seat, but everyone else was just got told, it's just like, nah, you're gonna have to wait like 4 hours, 5 hours and stuff. So like, I don't know, like if I just got lucky in the person I was talking to, or if it was just because I was nice about it. Like, yeah, and then I was sitting on the plane, and I was taking ages to taxi to the runway, and I was like, oh, I'll write a song about it. And usually I don't really write like that song is kind of like a storytelling song.
Yeah.
In a way, like lyrically, I always think of it as to be a little bit folk, just the way it's kind of telling a story. I never usually write songs like that. But what's even weirder is that I actually I wrote the verse melody and the chorus melody in my head, like before I even put the words down.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there like on the plane in my head. I was like dum dum da da dum da da dum. So I knew exactly how to fit like each syllable word into like each syllable into each line. And then the next day I got up and picked up an acoustic, and like, I don't know, I'm not trying to make it sound all like magical and all this kind of stuff, because it's really not. But like, I just picked up the guitar, and I think within a few minutes I kind of knew what I was doing. But with that, it's not a complex song by any means. It's only got 2 chords in it. Like, it's a very, very simple song. But yeah, I've never written something like that before, where I've actually had all the melodies in my head and then was able to just go and sit down and do it. I know Michael Jackson used to write like that. He just used to have like he'd have like his bass line and everything in his head.
Yeah.
And his drum beats and everything. And he'd just go up to the boys and be like, I play it like this. And just like, the band would just be like going mad playing this tune. It's just like, but yeah, that's how that song came about.
Yeah, I just thought it was fascinating though, because it was just like one woman in the airport just set you off on a path to.
I know, yeah. Sure, look, we got a song out of it. So
yeah.
All right.
You ever try and find her and send it to her? Like, this is about you.
Yeah. You being a dickhead.
Yeah. And the one more song that I'd love to know, which I kind of know this already, but I think it'd be cool for people to know, is Emergency. You probably knew I was going to ask you this.
I knew you were going to say.
It's like my favorite song. It really is my favorite song of all time. It's one of few songs that's like actually struck a chord with me and kind of makes me feel like kind of different when I listen to it. If that's like a good
Yeah.
way to put it. Like it's yeah, it really strikes a chord.
Yeah, I know. Like emergency, like that song is actually really old. I think that I wrote emergency like at the like late 2017. So like about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but it was like it sounds like it could have been on the first album. Like it's dead noisy, it's dead scuzzy, it's got like these big massive drums in it. Like it's really a million miles away from where it is now. And then like we gigged it like once before I left, and then obviously I went to London and was like not really playing it, and then just by chance I ended up doing this kind of the chilled electro-ish version that you hear today. But I only made it for the live set. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do that live. I'll always go back to the old way. The old way is better. And then I done a comparison one that was like, actually, the chilled out version is much better. Because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like, because the end of it is very big. I think the fact that the start of it is so chilled out, it makes the end so much better. Whereas on the original version, the whole thing is just as big as the end. So that
Yeah.
just makes the end and not as cool as it actually ended up sounding. I think, yeah, I mean, I don't really like talking about what my songs are about. I'm not gonna lie. It's you said this wouldn't be an interview.
Yeah, but I think it was always going to go that way.
That's what you should call the series. This is not an interview.
Yeah, this is not an interview, but it is an interview. But no, sure, we can leave it at that there if you want.
No, I nearly done it, but you stopped me. So no,
I won't make you do any. You don't want to do. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. I gave you enough there in how the song came to be how it is now.
Yeah. No, I love it.
If I want, I'll send you the original version for the crack. Because like,
yeah, I'd love to hear that.
It's actually a laugh when you listen back to it. It's like it's way faster. It's like it's almost like a punk song.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that because I've only ever heard the two versions of it. I heard the demo and then the final version.
Yeah, sure. Even the demo's not a million miles away from the.
No, very, very. Like it took me a couple of listens to kind of, because I haven't got a clue, but like, took me a couple of listens to kind of get the differences. But it's it's a phenomenal track.
I'll send you the original for the laugh. I'd love to hear what you think of that one because it's not as what's the word? It's not as emotionally engaging as the one that is out.
Yeah, the one that's out gets me every time I listen to it. Like I'd say I've listened to it over 100 times now at this stage. Yeah, and still kind of gets me.
I think initially it was written as more. It came out sounding more like an angry song.
Yeah.
And then the more it came on, it kind of became a sad song, which most of my songs tend to become quite sad the more they go on.
Yeah, I know.
I was writing one yesterday that's it's quite upbeat and it's definitely got like a cool kind of dancey groove to it. Like it's definitely not as downtrodden as the last couple, which is cool.
So I remember I never noticed that until Katie said it to me. She was like, "Why are Francis' songs always so sad?"
I know, like, yeah. No, I think we done a gig in the town hall. When did we do that? It was more like towards the end of November. And Katie and Noonan were there. And then, she said it to me as well. We were chatting outside the town hall. She's just like, "Francis, you realize how sad all your songs are?" I was like, "Oh, sure, I know, yeah." I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't find them sad when I'm writing them, but it's only when I start listening to the finished ones back.
Yeah.
Like, God, you're an awful miserable bastard. Would you cheer up, like?
It's not even that I don't think they're miserable. I just think like they're very emotive. Like they hit you. Like they'll.
Oh no, I say it. It is. It's. I say it more as a joke than anything. But they're definitely. We can definitely say they're not upbeat for sure. Not upbeat, but they're definitely not lyrically uplifting.
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
Yeah.
Would you do a song for us?
I do a song.
Yeah.
I've not really any instruments to do a song.
Bastard.
I know it looks like I do have.
I can see drums. I can see a piano.
I mean, I can sit down and just start playing some.
Drum.
No, I can't. I'm no good at drumming. I'm no good at drumming. If I had an acoustic, I would have given you a tune.
Oh, happy days. Maybe next time we can get you on for a live session or something.
I put a ban on acoustic guitars in this little box studio.
Really?
No,
I was like, why?
I just never need it. I never need it, so I don't have it. So.
No, I suppose, anytime I've ever seen it's always been electric guitars.
Well, no, I only play it live. If ever I'm recording, the acoustic never goes onto a recording. I don't know why. It's not out of like I don't sit there and think stupid acoustic. It's just I just don't ever use it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I suppose it makes sense. Like, I've only ever seen you with electric guitars, anything you've been recording. Been saying that's been like three times.
When the three lucky people who watch this decide to join the band, then we can all light the guitar on fire, because then I definitely won't need it.
And use it as a next album cover.
Yeah.
You're freeing yourself from acoustics.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll leave it at that there. What are we doing now, Joe? You do it.
Yeah, you invited me.
Okay.
Actually, no, you didn't. I responded to your.
You actually you invited yourself, so you have to do it. So I'll just do the one I always do in the podcast. Like, so there you have it, folks. That's all from us tonight, and hopefully we will be back with more episodes down the line somehow. Thank you, and stop recording.